Alright, so carrying on. Um, so now, how do we make this view controller show up now, this sign up view controller? So the way that I am presenting this login view controller, you can see it's being presented from another controller. This is a home view controller, and I had embedded the home view controller in a tab view as well as a navigation view. So the top here presents this one. So I think what I also need to do is to, what I'm going to do is to also embed this controller in a navigation view so that when we present the sign up view controller, it pushes it onto the screen instead of presenting it, so it's easy to navigate between the two. And okay, that doesn't make sense. Let me write it in code here. So first I'll go to the home view controller where I'm presenting the login VC here, and instead of directly presenting it here, I'm going to embed it now in a UI navigation controller with the root view controller being that login VC, and instantiate it like that. And so now if we run that again, what we're going to see so simulator should pop up here, and so we see this is the navigation bar at the top. I had made all of them green. So instead of having this button here, I'm just going to put that in alright, let me leave that for now because I don't want to get distracted. The main point of this video is to show you how to make this controller here. And another point I've forgotten to mention is that I had put this in a scroll view because what tends to happen is if it's just a UI view, when you press the keyboard and when you press the field, when the keyboard comes up, it usually covers the field, making it very hard for the user to see what they're typing in. But if it's scroll view, then the user can easily just slide it up and down accordingly so that it can see what they need to. Alright, so toggle that back down, Control K. And so let's continue now. So in this login VC, there's this function where on here, if I press sign up, it shows new user, right? Prints new user here. And this is where we want to push that. I want to use the navigation controller to push the sign up controller. So on here, we're going to say navigation controller dot, and when we do that, we say push view controller. But I want to instantiate it first. So I'll say sign up VC is equal to make an instance of that view controller here. Alright, and then push it and animate it as true, like that. So now, when that button is pressed where it says don't yet have an account, sign up, we will see that this is now the sign up view controller. Okay, so now we can get started with adding this first view into our sign up view controller, and instead of saying login, it's going to say sign up. So how we do that, we're going to create that top view, and instead of typing it again, I will just copy paste, and you can see, and I'll explain what I did. But first, I will create the scroll view inside. So I'll copy these two. I have a scroll view and I have a content view. So this is a very tricky issue sometimes if you're making the scroll view programmatically. So every scroll view needs a content view, and the content view is where we put all the properties, right? I mean, we put all the different components like UI images and UI views. And so we have to give this content view, like you see here, we have to give it a content view size. And then we add that to the scroll view. So we see here that the content view's frame has to be equal to that content view size. So it's like the content view and the scroll view both use this content view size. So you can have a closer look at this code. I'll come back to sign up VC, and that was in the view did load. So, all right, so you can see we set the scroll view frame to the bounds of the view, meaning that you can see here the bounds of the view are these ones, and the scroll view is filling all of it, and the content view is bigger than the scroll view, so it moves, it slides within the scroll view. So if we had made the scroll view only go up to here, then this scroll view would only take up that space, and we could put something else at the top there. I hope that that makes sense. So what we'll do now, we'll run that, and we'll see that now in our sign up VC, we also have that scroll view inside. Alright, so see here, and we can slide up and down, and you can see that now the content of this sign up screen is now, the height of it is larger than the bounds of the screen, which is why we can move up and down, and it's perfect for us. So now we want to put that view here at the top, the very top, and then the rest of these inputs. So now let's do that. That's the easier part. So I will type this one out for you guys just so you can see. So I'll call this the top view, like I had done with, I hope that this doesn't conflict with that one. And this is going to be a type UI view. And we're going to use this way to instantiate this variable. It's going to be using like a trailing closure. And we can say let view is equal to UI view. So let me return this view. So what happens is that this view, top view is how it's referenced outside of the function. View is how it's referenced inside of this closure here. So then we can customize these properties, and you can give it a background color, and we can say, like, I will say teal, and then we need to make sure that because we're using auto layout, we need to add this property which says translate auto sizing mask into constraints is equal to false, otherwise auto layout will not work. Okay, so now we have made our view, and now we have to add it to the content view, because currently the content view is what we're adding to the very top of the layer. So here we'll come and say scroll view, content view, and then I'll add that subview, which is the top view, right? And then now we have to constrain it. We have to tell it where to go. I've created another course where I explain in depth what constraints are, but essentially this is explicit instructions to tell XCode where exactly everything should go. So on here we need to constrain we need to tell it here where it's going to anchor from the top, and this is called the leading, the trailing, and because we're not going to use this button, we're going to use a height anchor. So now I'm going to say top view dot top anchor dot constraint equal to, and because we have that navigation view, this UI navigation bar, I'm going to pin it to, this is going to be called the safe area layout guide. The top, very top anchor will be here at the top, but the safe area will be somewhere here. And so that you won't get a mismatch on the height, things will appear where they're supposed to. And so we'll do view.safeArea layout guide dot top anchor, and constant is how much padding. We're just going to give it 0. And now come back and say top view, and now we want to constrain the leading anchor, and constrain equal to because, oh sorry, this is the view. Sorry, I apologize. This should not be view. Since we're using the content view, it will just be the content view.top anchor, because the content view is already using those guides. So I'll say content view.leading anchor, and also we don't want any padding, so I can just, it's an optional, this padding, so you can just leave it blank if you don't want to put anything in. And for the trailing anchor as well, we do the same thing. Constrain it to the trailing anchor of this content view. No padding as well. And finally, we're going to give this a height, and I'll say height anchor, and we'll constrain it to a constant of 150. Okay, and now having this, we can see the sign up, and we see we have our screen here, and it's pinned right to the bottom of this navigation bar. We've got this beautiful teal view where we're going to put that sign which says sign up, and you can put in additional text as well. So for this now, I'm going to try to speed this up, otherwise it's going to take a very long time. I'll come back to the login VC, and I had created a label for that, and I called it, I just need to find it, top view label. Yeah. And you can see it says login. I had changed the, given it a system font size of 30 and a bit of styling, a light, so it's not as bold, just looks a little bit nicer. So I'll add this down here, and then so we're adding this top label view, we're adding it into this view here. So instead of adding it to the content view like we did the top view, we add this top view label, we add the top view label to the top view. Alright, so now it's added in. If we run this, it's just going to appear in a random position, which is why we need to start to work on the constraints. Run this now, and while it does, I'll start working on the constraints here. Top view label, better to run. Okay, now we see it just appears in a random position. So you need to tell it explicitly where to go. And I had done this exact same thing in the login view controller, so I'm not going to repeat myself. And I'm just going to copy this and then paste those constraints in here. So I'm anchoring it from the top, I'm giving it a padding of 40, and anchoring it from the leading, left anchor and giving it a padding of 20. And you can run that again and see I'm going to have that label in the right position. Right. So I have an imaginary ruler that aligns everything here. I'm going to use a constant of 20 so that everything is perfectly aligned with a margin of 20 from the left. Okay, so after that now we want to add in the email because for the sign up we'll have the email, and I'm going to add in a phone number field, and then a password field, and a confirm password field. So I'm going to do a lot of copy pasting so that you save time, and it's important is to understand what's going on. You can type this out by yourself. So login PC back here. What we need next is this email label. Alright, we have the email label. I'm going to place that in here. This one is the one that's telling the users to enter the email here. And then after that we have the email field, text field below that, which is this one. Alright, so we've created these labels, this label and this field, and again now we have to add it to the view, and we're adding it now again to the content view instead of to this top view. So all of this now is going back to the content view, and I've done this already here, so just need to find where it is. So here, add email field, add email label, and a bit of styling here for the email field. Just give a little corner radius, very thin border width so it doesn't look clunky, and then a nice border color, which is the theme color of my app. If you're wondering what this main green is a custom color made from an extension, and you can do the same for your project if you want to add in more colors and easily access them throughout your project. So now we have this added to the content view, both of them, and again if we just run this without giving them the styling, you'll see they'll just appear in some random place. So see, it doesn't look good. So we need to do that, do those constraints, and here we have email label and email field. I'm going to copy these and add them in here, and then this email label is exactly the same. So anchoring from the bottom of that top view, and so what we're doing is, let me run that first so it's a bit more clear. Okay, the sign up. Okay, here it looks nice and tidy. So we're anchoring this email from the top of this, from the bottom of this top view, and this distance here is controlled by exactly this line. So it's constant of 40. See, there's a nice space, and then the leading is 20. And if you're wondering why I didn't specify a width, is because this text is going to fill out automatically unless like you restrict it to for the width to be smaller than the space of the letters to be smaller than the width. So if it otherwise it's not too much of of an issue. But if you explicitly want to control this, you can set it to be the width of this, and you can set a background color, and you can also see what's happening. So I'll try to include that at the end, but let's continue so that this video doesn't get way too long, because doing this programmatically can be tedious and time consuming. So the next thing I want to do is I want to add, I actually want to create a phone number label and a phone number field, which I don't have on the other screen. So instead of this being email, just call it phone. And I can do this because, I said this is internal reference, so it doesn't conflict with anything out there. These external names just need to be different and unique. And then I can change this to say phone, and then I can change this to say enter phone number. This is a placeholder. And then I can duplicate what I just did here, and I say phone label, and then phone field. And then I need to fix these. So I've added now those that phone label and that phone field. And then I will copy this as well and just do the same changes. So I'll say phone label stop anchor constraint to the bottom of, now it's the bottom of this email field, and then so the trick for this is knowing where everything references. And that email field will be anchoring from the bottom of this, and this is the phone field. It'll be anchoring from the bottom of the phone label, and phone field, phone field, and again, phone field. And trying to keep everything else the same for consistency. Let's run that. And so, alright. See, it looks here, we've got that. Phone now. So just going to do this now for password and verify password. So I already have a password field that I had made in this one. So first have a password label. I'm going to copy that. And then under that we want this password field. Okay. And so now I can again just duplicate this code constraints. It's mostly the same, just changing the points of reference. And what I'm doing now is the password. I will actually just copy the password field code and the password label code I have, so that I only need to change maybe one or two things instead. So now this password label should just be referencing the bottom anchor of this phone field, and then this is okay. So run that. Okay, so it's coming together quite well, very nicely. Okay. So it looks like we have an error somewhere. My last constraints. Let me try to see what that. Okay, this can be a bit hard to understand, these codes, but we know where it says UI label top. Okay, but we know that these are the last constraints that we added. So this password label, phone field, bottom anchor, phone field, I probably did not add them to the view hierarchy, did I? Phone label, password label. Yes, I did not add the password label and the password field to the view. So it's trying to give constraints to a view that doesn't exist in the hierarchy. Okay, so let's run that again and try to see. Hopefully that would have been fixed now. Give that a moment while it runs. Okay, and in the meantime, I'm going to create confirm. This code is not going to be executed. It's going to say confirm password label and confirm password field. Okay, let's try to simulate it now. Okay, let's give it some time. Or I can close it and just reinitiate that. Okay, this one came back. So, right, there you go. We've got that nice enter password. But for that, I had not given the styling, which is why it's very blank as it is. I need to enter that styling for the password field. Okay. Same as for this confirm password. So I'll just copy this and paste it there. Okay. But we have it where we want it to be. And so we have our email field, password field, and now we're adding on our confirm password. And so you can see it's quite repetitive, but it's good when everything comes together. So this is now the confirm password field, and it's going to anchor from the bottom of this one. So that was the label actually. Password, it's anchoring from the bottom of the password field, and this is the confirm password label. Same as here, and this is the confirm password field. Okay, and then alright, so let's just run that. So now we have all the fields, and the thing that is left is just the button. Oh, and also the, let's see, I don't know what I did here. When confirm password constraints are not correct for the field, the top anchor should be anchoring to the bottom of confirm password label. So I anchored two items to the bottom of the same single items, so they're stacked on top of each other, and that's why it looked the way it did. Hopefully this can fix that. Okay, so now we have it, everything is lined up nice and perfectly. And this should say sign up. Notice that. So this says sign up. Okay, and the last thing you want is that button that says sign up. And I had already made a button here, so let's see. I'll just add this button down here. I've already done some styling. Set that to green. And it has a handler, and this should be handle sign up. Okay. So this should be a function that is called every time when that button is pressed, and Objective-C function, and here we can say, to test it, we say print sign up pressed, but we haven't added this button yet to our view, so we're going to add it to our content view, and we're going to add this sign up button and then constrain it. I want to type in the constraints again, as I have already done it, and see, here. I'll just need to change the reference again of where it's anchoring from. So no, this is a different button. Sorry, this is not the correct one. This is the login button I'd called it, but in this case it's called the sign up button because it's no longer for logging in. And now it needs to reference from the top, it needs to reference the confirm password field, bottom anchor. And I've pinned it 20 from the left and the right and given it a height of 40. And when we press it, it should say sign up pressed. Alright, so we're here, sign up. So the styling is a bit different here. Let's see, what is it that I did? The colors of the button. So you want to set the title color for white, and then give the button a background. Right, like so. So essentially I inversed those colors, and now we should see that full color we have on the other screen. Alright, and also I need those nice rounded layers. So I can do that by calling buttons layer, layers corner radius, and it was 5. Let's give it some nice subtle rounded corners. So we have this is sign up, and then so you can see we don't, this is where the navigation controller comes in handy, so that now I don't need to repeat myself writing down here a sentence that says go back to login, and for minimalistic design I can just go say back like that, and I can move in between these two screens, and if either one of these works, so if the user signs in, then when I press the login function here where it says logging in, I can handle it and get like a closure. Upon success, it dismisses that the screen. So this button here you see is just for testing, so that I can easily maneuver between the different screens. But essentially this is a very simple and easy flow to get your users logging in and signing into your app. And this content, the scroll view really helps for them to be able to slide up and down the screen and see what they're typing in, instead of having that keyboard pop up to cover those inputs, like so. Alright, so that's it for this video. I hope it was helpful. And if there are other ways that you guys use to avoid this overlap over here, that's different from what I have done, please feel free to share in the comments and help other people who are also building this kind of feature using UIKit and Programmatically.